Sunday morning and the guys are off for a ride. We've got about 20 riders going away on the South Australian Adventure Bike GPS ride today. So the guys just had a briefing by myself about safety and all that sort of stuff. So this ride basically is a ride where you're on your own, you've got the map on your GPS, you follow the map, you can bow in and bow out of the ride whenever you like. So the guys seem pretty happy, they're getting away. We don't have a lead rider, we don't have a sweep rider. So yeah, it gives everybody the opportunity of, I suppose, learning to follow a GPS track, loading a GPS track onto your GPS system on your bike, altering it, sharing information, and I suppose just a good time to be had by all. And obviously, you know, chit chat about bikes and the like. There's a fair array of bikes. Yep, we have quite a lot here. I think from 250s right up to the 1290s. I think the KTM 1290 and the like. So we're looking for a good day today. I thought it'd be a bit wet and slippery out on the tracks and that, but you know, we've had a day of reasonable sort of weather, not much rain, so the track should dry it out a little bit. So alright, we'll see what happens today, see how the guys go. I think we've got about 20 riders with us today. This ride is about 30% tarmac and 70% dirt road, and most of the roads are like the one you can see just in front of us. I think I have about 2, 4, 6, 8, not about, I do have 8 riders in front of me at the moment, so I've got about 20 plus riders here today. This is the first bit of dirt so far, and a short stint of hard top here. We're back on the dirt. So as I was saying before, the weather seems to be quite good. It's a little bit overcast at the moment. We might get a few splatters of rain today. That's fine, we can all handle that. It's all part of the adventure. Now in the briefing there was a lot of questions asked about GPS, setting up the GPS, how I did it, how I made the tracks and the like. This GPS course here was set up solely on Google Maps. I have ridden it quite a few times, but I've never actually tracked the ride. So I went on Google Maps, played around with that and created a track, loaded it up to our Facebook site, South Australian Adventure Bike Riders, and said to the guys, here's the GPX file, go your hardest, and gave the guys a bit of practice, you know, with taking the information off Facebook, downloading it to the PC and dropping it onto GPS. So some of the issues we might have today is I haven't ridden the track via GPS. I've only ridden it physically without GPS, so there could be mistakes, but I am told by some of the other riders who rode it during the week it seems to work okay. Time will tell. And this little track here, this road's called Fleurieu Road, and it's I suppose a warm-up track for the riders, especially for the guys who've never ridden dirt roads. It can be a little bit slippery. We get a lot of kangaroos crossing the road. It is the road that I come off on about 10 years ago. Got hit by a kangaroo, come flying out from the left, hit the bike. I went over the handlebars through some trees and cracked my neck in 3 places. So yeah. Bit slippery?
Oh, I stopped up there, I fell off the road.
Oh yeah?
Let that tyre sit down.
Yeah.
I went to have my foot back, as you can see how high I am.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, and then the front end was on that rock and I couldn't lift uphill.
Ah yeah, no worries. Yeah. How are you personally, okay?
Go around the other side. I wasn't even moving. I stopped.
Sweet.
But, you know, typical.
Yeah.
Next going.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how quick it is. His tyres filled as much when we went
so
through there as mine did.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. The front wheel was on that rock there. I didn't know, that's why I couldn't lift it.
That's okay.
Yeah, the back end slipped down. And then I had to dab my foot on that side, and there's nothing there.
I'm just disappointed I didn't get it on video.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I'm getting all this on video too. Excuses. So let's get the big thumbs up. Yeah, that was a half-assed thumbs up there. Well done.
I saw the two guys in there, they're slipping aside, and I was just going straight.
Jesus, yeah,
And then 50 metres down the track, I'm...
Okay, so that's our first stop for today. He just pulled up and on the side of the track and didn't see the rock that was under his wheel. Went to put his foot down and bang, went over. I think most of us have done that. Christmas Road, Kaipo, or Christmas Hill Road, Kaipo. A couple of boys are giving it a bit of a fang up here. Getting into it, gonna watch this corner here. Beautiful. Starting to get down towards the, I suppose, the middle part of the southern Fleurieu Peninsula in South Australia, and the tracks are getting a little bit more moist now. As you've seen in any of my previous videos, most of them are made in summer and autumn, so yeah, the area was quite brown and dried off, and we've just had a fair bit of rain over the last few weeks, probably 100-150 mils in the area, so the paddocks have greened up nicely. This area is well known for dairy cattle, so there's a couple of dairies around in the area. This track here is a dry weather road only. It's a fairly dry day today. It's like a lot of tracks I ride on around this area here. They can catch it out. You know, if you're not watching what you're doing, there's variable surfaces. You know, you go from this gravel onto clay, onto rocky surfaces. You can see this track, this corner coming up here. This has caught out a few people. Come around, and it's sort of got a nice little camber, then just basically swings off to the other way. As you can see here, see a few of the guys have been sliding around there. If you're not ready for it, going too fast, going hammer and tong along there, you end up finding the barbed wire. So we're doing speeds of 70-80 kilometers per hour along these tracks, which is just right. You don't want to go too fast. Well, you can if you want. I'm sure the riders on this ride are probably hitting at 90-100 k's an hour, but you know, it's just a bit risky on these roads because they, as I said earlier on, you've got changing surfaces. You're going from gravel to sand to clay. If you don't know what's coming up on you, you go hit the brakes, well, you're in for a slide. All in all, it's not too bad. Know what you're doing. At least they're not extreme tracks. Now on this ride here, we've got some beginners and got some sort of intermediate riders, then we've got advanced riders like Con and a couple others who are you know, ex-enduro riders. They know their stuff. Con's one of the lead riders in the Flinders Classic. He does lead riding position with myself. Both of us take the adventure tours up in the Flinders Ranges. Very similar to this sort of riding here, where you might have a pack of 20-25 riders follow you through the Flinders Ranges over variable surfaces, see all the highlights. It's 4 or 5 days of solid motorcycling. We get about 120 riders up to that event. Not sure what's going on here. John's checking out his bike. All good, John? Yeah, he's good. He's giving us the thumbs up, so no worries at all. Looks like John's become our unofficial leader.
Where are you thinking for lunch?
I was thinking Yankalilla, but it's still a few hours away, a couple of hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm easy. I just keep riding in. Maybe Yankalilla.
Yeah.
Yep. So just discussing one of the important things, which is lunch. Well, we're thinking about lunch. We've hit 11 o'clock and soon the pubs will start serving. So we've probably still got another couple of hours of riding, so pubs will serve till about 2 o'clock. That's the thing about adventure riding, is you've got to plan where your bakery stops are and your pub stops. The important things, a priority. So when planning with a group, it's usually the meals first, drinks, the route and then you think about the safety and all that. So yeah, let's get to a pub and get a feed. Now on James Track, we were given some warnings by other riders who have ridden this track in the last few days, saying that it was fairly slippery. It's not too bad at the moment. Every now and then you can feel a bit of a wobble in the base of the bike there. Tyres trying to get grip. Yeah, but other than that, it's not too bad. The days like this, tracks are like this for the rest of the day, it's pretty good. But as we get down more into the southern areas, the tracks will narrow and basically turn into single tracks. We're currently on Mount Robinson Road. This is another dry weather road only. Once again, conditions are not too bad. Narrows down, it goes between a couple of conservation parks, pine forests. It's pretty good conditions today on this track. It can be a bit cut up in summer. Four-wheel drives like to come up and down here, not that it's much of a challenge. This corner here could be a little bit slippery. There's another one coming up just before the pine forest, which I remember is quite slippery. See Con in front of us on the KTM there, bouncing across the corrugation. Mount Scrub Road, this joins onto the Heisen Trail, which is a very popular walking trail that goes all the way from the base of South Australia right up into the Flinders Ranges. I think it's a couple thousand k's of walking. Long way. So it sort of meanders through all the hills, the forest. Yeah, long way to go. I'd rather do it on the motorbike. You can actually ride it on a mountain bike. Unfortunately, you can't ride it on a motorbike. Well, parts of it you can, like this. But most of it's across private property and government land. Con's going bush, testing out his tyres. Yeah, like I was saying earlier on, some of these corners can catch you out. Yeah, they sort of come in and you're on camber, then suddenly they're off camber, and next minute you're in the bush. Right, what's the name of this road? Oh, I can't see, it starts with a C. Something Wonga Creek Road. It's Wonga. Just come down the bottom here on the left, there's a little bluestone quarry. So you want to test your bike out there. Bit of rock hopping, I like. Not a lot to it, but just want to stop there for a quick rest. It's a good spot. Dropping down the bottom here, there's a little bridge goes over a creek. Can be a bit slippery, it's wet. As you can see, oh, there's someone hitting the brakes pretty hard. Somebody went wet, and here's the water I'm talking about. Oh, boots are wet. Excellent. So the track tightens up a little bit through here. You can see how this corner you're coming up, then it sort of drops down a little bit. So I'm talking about it comes around in camber, then drops off. Tenere, giving it a bit of oomph through there. Here's the Tenere, it's the model before this. Let's just get up on him. You can tell there's a few bike riders here who wanted to give it a bit of go for a bit of gas. They're just holding back. Could be wrong about the model of that bike. Not quite sure. Coming into Yankalilla, just coming up to the pub. We've gone off track a little bit, but some of the boys were going to stop here and get some lunch. So just looking for their bikes, see if they have actually stopped here or not. Let's go around here, check out the car park. Oh, there's bikes all the way up the back. Strange place to park. Tells me we've got a few riders here. Right on. Ah, there they are. Hiding away. What's going on here?
This was, we missed the corner back there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're just regrouping at the pub?
Regrouping here. Yeah.
All right. So this is a planning meeting, is it? Yeah, righto. I know what you're planning. Currently on Pongal Beach Road, dropping down into Pongal Beach Township. We've all had a big lunch at Yankalilla Pub. It was quite interesting because some of the riders continued on this track and did a loop, then come back to the pub because they were well in front of the main pack, and some of the stragglers sort of dropped in and then broke away earlier from the meal. So once again, another good thing about a GPS ride where you don't have any sort of I suppose restrictions, I suppose, as to where you have to be at certain times and stuff like that, is you can just drop in and out of the ride. And the guys were commenting on it, saying how good it is to be able to do that, to just ride on, then come on back, and yeah, find us all having a meal there and a beer. So a lot of the riders have departed now. They've either completed the ride or they decided they want to go home for various reasons. And we're dropping down here into Pongal Beach area. It's absolutely splendid area here. Some great fishing, a bit of surfing down there and the like. So looking across the bay to the right there, we've got Adelaide, probably good 30 kilometres in that direction. I can just see the top of Mount Lofty over there. If we go to our left, we're going to go to Kangaroo Island. Straight across, we've got York Peninsula. A lot of heritage in this area. As far as farming goes, there's a station down at the bottom here, an old station. The station used to own all this area, run sheep on it, and they still do. So on the ride, what have I got left? 2 people behind me. So that's 2 behind me, but there'll be others out on the ride still, either behind me or in front of me. I don't really know. I suppose one of the suggestions I would make on something like this is to possibly have a sweep rider, but you know, at the end of the day, it's a casual ride. Do what you want, do it any time sort of ride. And if you have a sweep, you're not to know whether people have actually, you know, diverted from the track and gone a different way, or, you know, I suppose they've said, I'd rather go that way than the way we're going now because that's a better track. Who knows? I don't really know. At the end of the day, you've got that choice of bowing in and bowing out of the ride, and it's all done at your own pace, your leisurely pace. So yep. Oh, I've got a warning sign here. It's a 30k area, and what's the big sign on the right there saying danger, you're doing 60? No, I'm not, I'm doing 36. I'm dropping down. I'm doing 31. I'm down to 30. Okay, we're down to 25, so nice and safe. Yeah, I suppose it's just a little township here. It's very small roads. Family living life there. I can actually feel the heat off that fire. So it's a bit cold at the moment. I can feel the heat of that fire. Nice. What a way to spend a Sunday. You know, either bike riding or sitting around a fire with a few beers. Kids playing on the beach. Sometimes you come down here in winter and you see kids swimming in that water. It's bloody freezing. a bit pongy down here. Yeah, sort of water comes down from the hills across that area there, and it just sort of becomes a little bit stagnant in this area. The funny thing is they call this area my Pongal Beach. Ponga, get it? Anyway, let's carry on. Enough with the half-wit comedy. Boys are still behind me. Just had another rider leave us, so I've got 2 riders behind me. I did have 3. I don't think the 2 guys behind me have got GPSs on their bike, so they'll be relying on me to guide them back to Adelaide. Our ride actually finishes in a town called Willunga. It's not quite Adelaide, it's about 30 kilometres from Adelaide, 30 kilometres short. It's a good spot to finish the ride because you've got all the facilities there, and it gives people options of going back to the city, or to the left, or to the right, or reverse, whatever, rather than going back to where you're starting from, because I live in the Adelaide Hills, and a lot of these rides people have to ride up to me to join me. This way they can just leave the ride and go straight home. Good conversation around the lunch table. A lot of, I suppose, excellent comments, positive comments about the ride, how good it is. Quite a few riders have never been on these tracks. They've basically lived around the Adelaide area and weren't aware of these tracks, and now they're getting out on them, and a couple of riders are new to adventure riding. So it's given a bit of a taste of the various conditions that we can ride under. So it's good to sort of have that lunch break and a bit of a yak over a meal. Talk about the bikes, talk about the road, talk about the conditions, talk about the weather, talk about upcoming rides as well. And I was getting a lot of questions about the Flinders Ranges riding and interstate riding, and last week's Tenere rally. What was it like? The thing about adventure riding, especially when you're getting into adventure riding, is there's a lot of unknowns, and a lot of people are just a little bit concerned about the rides, that they may be a bit too technical. Yeah, I suppose there are rides that can be fairly technical. I just find a lot of the adventure rides that I tend to go on can sort of, I don't know, that there's a fine line between adventure riding and enduro riding. Now, enduro riding is adventure riding. In true respect, you're out on an adventure. But I think it's very important that if you do organise a ride, that you're very clear on what style of riding it is, and I suppose how technical it is. What sort of conditions you're going to come across. At the beginning of this ride, I did the briefing where I spoke to the guys and said to them, this is what you're looking at today, these are conditions. I can't control the weather, so you've got to ride within your ability, within your means, within your bike's means as well, and stick to the rules and all that sort of stuff, and you make the decisions. So it's rider beware, rider at own risk. I've got a bike up here on the side of the road. We'll see what this guy's up to. I think he's just taking a few happy snaps. The old thumbs up, he's happy. One of our riders. It's good. We've had no breakdowns. A couple offs. A couple people come off, mainly sliding off the roads. Loudshield Road. Coming towards the end of the ride now. It's been a bloody awesome day. We've still got to do Range Road west and then into Willunga. We can fuel up if required. I don't think I'm going to need fuel. I've still got half a tank there, and I've probably only done 120, 130 k's there, so fair way to go. Only got one rider left behind me. Con's sitting there. The rest of the riders, as I said, taken off, gone their own way. A couple of riders still well behind me. They're off on the side of the road taking photos. This road's quite a scenic sort of road to go on. A lot of photo opportunities, looking across the coast, across the hills, rolling green hills this time of the year. So climbing up to the top of the hill. Basically we're going to end up going across the ridge line, across the tops of the hills. It's only 2:30 in the afternoon, so we've still got a bit of time in front of us before the kangaroos start coming out. hope knows a few kangaroos in the paddock sort of inching their way towards the fences. Absolutely spectacular views down onto McLaren Vale, the southern vales of South Australia. It's a well-known wine growing region. We hear a lot about the Barossa Valley in South Australia. If you do come to South Australia, you know, don't go past the McLaren Vale area. Come and see that. It's sort of a, I don't know, I think it's a better area to explore. You've got some old wineries and you've got a lot of new ones as well, and boutique wineries as well. So pretty good. So you come to South Australia, yeah, check out the Barossa, but also come down and have a look at McLaren Vale. And we also have quite a few other bloody awesome sort of wine districts like Langhorne Creek and Coonawarra down in the southeast, and a little bit up in the northern areas up around Rabba and the like. So yeah, if you're a wine connoisseur, check out McLaren Vale. There's a building down there called the Cube. I think it's called Darrenberg Cube. Really interesting architecture there. I'll put a little photo up of that. Good feed, good music, good wines, all that sort of stuff. That seems to be the draw card for the tourists at the moment, but search around, you'll find a lot of other really good wineries. Well, here we are in Willunga, South Australia. We come to the end of our ride. So our GPS map finishes just up here at the service station. So basically it starts at a coffee shop and ends at a service station. How good's that? So by this time a lot of the smaller tank bikes were needing a bit of fuel, so we organised it to be like this. It says exit only, that's new. Let's just park over here. I mentioned the Cube before, Darrenberg Cube. Just coming back via that area, and I thought I'd just pop in and have a quick look and show you guys what it's all about. Very popular little spot. There's a lot of artwork around the area. Lots of things to see, antiques and the like. So there's the big Cube there. Lookouts up top, restaurants, wine tasting, all that sort of stuff. A lot of tourism here. Or tourists come to check it all out. We'll just see if we can dodge them. There we have it, Darrenberg Cube. Lookouts top down there, a bit like a Rubik's Cube, twisted all around. Chandeliers hanging there, there's wine tasting rooms, and I think there's some sort of fermentation vats and all that down the bottom, so you can see that and get the, I suppose, the smells, the aromas coming up through the building as you're tasting and also having a meal. Yeah, pretty impressive design. Even for a cold winter day like today, there's quite a lot of people here.